Hello my fellow artisans and welcome to a new video where I want to talk about something I am trying to learn. And I'm using this particular video to showcase some things that I've learned from a YouTube tutorial called How to Paint Light in Watercolor by Matthew White. I will put the link in the description and I think you immediately notice something in that title. The video is indeed about how to paint with watercolor, and I am working with a digital medium, so why would I use a video like that? Well, first of all, I love watercolor paintings and I want to learn how to mimic watercolor painting effects in the future. And secondly, I thought I could use at least some of the tips and ideas for my own piece. By the way, if you do have a nice tutorial on how to paint light, put the name of the artist in the description and I will take a look. Again, I put the link of the video in the description, but I will tell you the points that I wrote down while watching the video. So first of all, one of the first points that I found out is that you need to get a lot of dark in the painting. So in order for the light source to stand out, you need to darken the rest around it, which sounds reasonable, but a lot of the times I had way too light of a background to have the light source actually stand out. So that was the first thing that I did in this painting. Second point that I wrote was think about the brightest parts, especially where are the brightest parts? How does it affect the composition of the painting? Point 3 that I wrote down was to have a golden yellow color, and the color around the light source has to be that color as well. This is of course if you want to have a natural warm light. If you go into fantasy territory, you can play around with other colors as well. Then, the further away from the light source, the stronger the color, in terms of saturation of course, because you need to use the actually light source to be very light in the saturated colors. Otherwise you cannot actually see what's going on. Where the light is obstructed, use a bit darker colors as well. This is of course because the light can't get through solid objects, or if it's like semi-solid, it needs to be a bit darker so you can see that the light is obstructed. The next point was use the color in the reflection on the object. It sounds very logical, but when you are painting, when you are rendering, you do not often look at every single thing that needs to be reflected. So everything the light touches will be touched in the same color, and reflections on the skin and the metal, stones, anything will be in the color of the light source and not another color. To be fair, I later put a second light source in my illustration, so there will be a very cold blue light source that is outside of the painting perspective. So the main color will be light yellow, and then there will be a soft blue reflection as well. And if you want to reflect on my other videos, subscribe to this channel. And while you're at it, give it a like. It will help me out tremendously with this. Another point is to avoid hard edges. Light is often soft and scattered, so it doesn't really have edges. Putting hard edges on an object means that it's actually abruptly cut off from the source by something that is not transparent. So get it as soft as you can. Then it was about values of colors in the shadows to make the light stand out. I actually looked back at this video and I can't really explain it any further. Just don't go all out on different colors in the background, but mute it a bit more and use values of the same color. So the light color will definitely stand out in comparison to the rest. Then simplify the background itself to make the light stand out. I think I did not really do this in this particular illustration. I really like to have a bit more details in the background, but I did use a lot of the same colors, which made it all more uniform in the background, so I somewhat did it. Going on to the next point, we have closer to the light source will be warmer, and further away the colors are cooler. So the light source itself is usually a very warm color, like yellow, orange, more like red, and the further away you get from the light source, the colors get cooler, more in the blues and greens and purples and such. Then the point, don't forget the shadows, which made me think, like, did I forget the shadows? Well, I put the light mainly on the character in the middle, and I did put some shadows on the right side of her, so yeah, I guess I did so, but it could be a bit more prominent, I guess, in another illustration. And the last point that I've written down was, be careful with the highlights, use them sparsely. Well, this is more for watercolors an issue, but a good idea to have, because if you use too many highlights, the illustration becomes confusing to look at. And that is how I ended up with the illustration that I have now. You will see a bit more about what's going on. I had a lot of fun making the lights stand out more. I like the idea of the light being from a natural source, so it was very fun to work that around. The big advantage of using these tips with digital art is, of course, that you can create light areas in dark places without too much hassle, and that's not a thing you can do with like physical painting. I put this illustration on my Etsy shop as a digital download, so if you want it as a desktop background, you can get it there. But you can also become a patron on my Patreon and get this illustration for free. That's right, one of the perks of being a patron is getting some of my illustrations for free. You can download it from there. And next to other perks, it's getting really fun there. Take a look on my Patreon page for more information. And that is where I leave you, my fellow artisans. See you in the next video.